Welcome to Logos, Lesson 3.0. Today's lesson will be on 1. Recalling Aristotle's rhetorical triangle, 2. Definition of logos, 3. Example of logos using facts, 4. Example of logos using concession and refutation, and 5. Writing about logos. Let's recall Aristotle's belief that a great speaker or writer uses all three appeals, ethos, logos, and pathos. Again, think of it as a three-legged stool. The stool needs all three legs in order to serve its purpose. Today we will look closely at how writers use logos to persuade their audience. Logos is how the writer appeals to the audience's reasoning by offering clear and rational ideas. For example, a what the heck random fact. Most kangaroos, except for western greys, can delay the development of their eggs until environmental conditions are right. How cool is that? And who can argue with that fact? Let's look at our first example of logos using facts. The speaker is former Prime Minister of the UK, Margaret Thatcher, giving a eulogy for former US President Ronald Reagan in 2004. The purpose is to pay tribute to Reagan's grand achievements. I want you to pause the video and write one reason she has automatic credibility or she needs to establish credibility, and write one fact she uses in this excerpt. If you said she has automatic credibility, you are correct. She was former Prime Minister of the UK, and she also served as leader of the Conservative Party for many years, so she's been in politics for quite some time. I am not going to read the excerpt of her eulogy and then discuss how her facts help her to achieve the purpose. The Berlin Wall is now a memory. We could be satisfied with that. Instead, we are enlarging and adopting NATO 1 and striving to create a future for Europe in which every democracy, including Russia, is our partner, and every partner is a builder of peace. Largely because of US leadership, nuclear weapons no longer target our homes. We could relax. Instead, we are working to reduce nuclear arsenals further, eliminate chemical weapons, end the child-maiming scourge of landmines, and ratify a treaty that would ban nuclear explosions forever. Thatcher appeals to the audience's reasoning by using facts to support Reagan's legacy. She lists his accomplishments, which are on a global scale, striving to create a future for Europe, including Russia. This allows the audience to proudly conclude that his actions lead to many good deeds for not only America, but also the world. Notice how I connected her appeal to reasoning with the effect it has on her audience. This is what you want to be able to do, which is your analysis and line of reasoning, or LOR. Let's look at another example of logos, this time using concession and refutation. The speaker is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who wrote a letter from Birmingham jail in 1963. The purpose of his letter is to justify the need for protest in Alabama to his audience, 8 white clergymen. I want you to pause the video and write one reason Dr. King Jr. has automatic credibility or needs to establish credibility, and one way he concedes and refutes in this excerpt. If you said Dr. King has automatic credibility, you are correct. He was a civil rights leader and he was a Baptist minister. I am now going to read the excerpt of his letter and then discuss how he concedes and refutes to achieve his purpose. You express a great deal of anxiety over willingness to break laws. This is certainly a legitimate concern, since we so diligently urge people to obey the Supreme Court's decision of 1954 outlawing segregation in the public schools. It is rather strange and paradoxical to find us consciously breaking laws. One may well ask, how can you advocate breaking some laws and obeying others? The answer is found in the fact that there are two types of laws. There are just and there are unjust laws. I would agree with St. Augustine that an unjust law is no law at all. Dr. King Jr. concedes by suggesting that the clergyman's concern is legitimate. However, he refutes this statement, alluding to a religious figure, St. Augustine, that unjust laws are no laws at all. The clergymen are then left to contemplate the justified actions of protesting unjust laws like segregation. Notice I connected his use of appeal to reason with the effect it has on his audience. This is what you want to be able to do, which is your analysis and line of reasoning, or LOR. When you are writing about logos, do not use the word logos. Instead, use action verbs such as appeals to the audience's reasoning or appeals to the audience's logic. We will go into more detail about that as a class later on.